Ladies and gentlemen, Ringside Society, the Wrestling Fans Podcast, presents to you another excellent episode of 50 Minutes of Fandom. In the first corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane, or Popeye spinach. He is the tranquil dart of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. It takes two to make a thing go right. He's Rob Bass, and you are not. In the second corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always on the go. Catch him if you can. Said his name in Guyana. Now they love him in Japan. No cap. The worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. And tonight, our special guest, our fellow wrestling fan that we will be talking to, is none other than, and believe it or not, he is a close friend of our alumni guest, Dean Hiram, the cornerstone of perfection. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Mike G.
Woo!
AKA
What's up, guys?
MG the Don.
Glad to be here.
How you doing today, sir?
Doing great. I'm glad to be here. Just enjoying my Thursday night with you guys, and yeah, looking forward to this.
That's great. I really truly do appreciate you actually taking time out of your busy schedule to be on our show. But it was a bit like, kind of surprising, like, who is this strange person? Who are these people, in my DMs, asking me to be on a show about wrestling fans, and, we're very thankful that you weren't like, hey, man, I don't know who you are, but whatever you're selling, I ain't buying. Thank you for actually letting us, say something, for hearing us out, and letting us tell you what we're really about.
Definitely. Wrestling fans unite, man, all day.
Yeah. So you're in Georgia, right?
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta.
Awesome. So how long have you been watching wrestling?
I've been watching wrestling hardcore probably since I was about 7 or so.
Ooh.
My grandfather took me to see Ric Flair, I believe in either Charlotte or Greensboro. I forget which one. But yeah, I saw Ric Flair in North Carolina when I was about 5, 6 years old. And so yeah, man, I've been down with it ever since.
Awesome. I tell you, Ric Flair, man, that guy is something else, man. He's definitely, one of the greatest of all time. If you had told me, I first saw Ric Flair when I was 8 years old, back in 1991. I'm 38 right now. If you had told me, Remy, one day a rapper is going to make a song about Ric Flair, I'd be like, what? I'm like, are you okay? Did somebody hit you in the head? Make a song about that guy? I mean, he's a bad guy. No, they wouldn't. But lo and behold, he got so popular, a lot of people in the hip-hop community are emulating his style. Ric Flair drip is I'm not a Migos fan. I grew up with like Jay-Z and Nas and Big L and them guys.
Big L.
Whenever Ric Flair drip comes on by Offset and 21 Savage, I'm on. And I'm like, yeah, Ric Flair drip go woo on a chick.
Hey man, I'm not gonna lie, man. I've been down with the Migos for a nice long time, since their early days. So Ric Flair,
Versace.
Ric Flair's got an impact on a lot of folks. The other thing outside of him is his persona, his mentality. He's high energy, super high energy, charismatic, and if he wants it, he's gonna get it. And that's how I like to live. So Ric Flair, man, the GOAT.
That's cool. Have you ever gotten a chance to meet him, like in person?
No, I never got a chance to meet Rick. The only wrestlers that I got to meet, I got to meet Shawn Michaels at a house show at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. So this was like 1997, maybe. And then he had a house show. I think he fought, I want to say maybe Sid Vicious that night. Fought Sid that night. Psycho Sid, I guess, that at that time.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I've always gone to shows, but I never really got a chance to go backstage. Up until recently, with Dean Hiram, shout out to British Wolf, Diamond Sheik, Trip Jordy, Rude Dragon. It was a great group of guys, man. Those. I mean, you guys saw the picture, so yeah, those are my people.
Yeah, that student showcase, man. I was very impressed by it. I was like, wow, like, and the crazy thing is when I first saw how I came across that whole class, it was a picture with Cody Rhodes saying congrats to the second class. So I'm like, all right, I'm on a mission now. I'm gonna try to get everybody on this show eventually. And I know it's close to impossible. Actually, I've had a few say, nah, not right now. So I'm like, all right, cool, and it's all gravy, it's all good, I mean, no harm, no foul. Thank you for actually not leaving us on red. I definitely appreciate you telling me no more than you leave me on red. But yeah, we've had so much, fun interviewing everybody. So I got a question to ask you. Your boy, Dean Hiram. How'd y'all come to meet up as like? Because when we first saw you, it was to a picture. When I first saw you, it was to a picture with, Dean and the rest of the gang. And I thought you were wrestling. I asked Dean, I'm like, is that guy a wrestler too? Is he training? And he's like, nah, he's a fan. And I'm like, okay, well, we got a 15 minutes of Fandom segment dedicated to the fans. He's like, oh yeah, he'd be down. I'm like, all right, and then I hit you up. But
he got disappeared.
I think I know where his question was going, but so pretty much he and I have a mutual okay, Remy's back.
Yeah, had a bit of an error there. Yeah, so have you ever thought about actually getting into the ring yourself, and becoming a wrestler? Maybe you and your boy Dean Hiram, team up and do y'all's thing.
I've had thoughts about it. I train with him. He's got a really cool home gym. So we've been able to work out, do some things. We were working on things together while he was, doing the school thing. And he took to it like a fish in water, man. I am proud of him on a different level. We're not kiddos anymore, man. We're in our mid-30s, and at this point in life, it's like you want to do, if you have the opportunity to do the things that you've always wanted to do, but you never had a chance at doing, just being able to help him get to where he is right now. I know he's had a minor injury setback, but he's already working at it. He's gonna come back stronger and better than ever. For me, I know he was coming at it from a ref perspective originally, and he took to it. I'm coming at it more from, I would like to get more into the commentary, broadcaster, interviewer style. I like to look at different styles of wrestling, not just the huge, promotions. I like to go to indie shows, a lot of different shows here in the city, travel to little small shows in different areas, even state fairs from time to time. So, I mean, there's a lot of different avenues and places for folks to make a name, to do some things, try to sell different types of ideas and concepts to fans. And as a, supposed hardcore fan, the internet wrestling community member and stuff like that. He's somebody that I love to get behind. Dean Hiram, Cornerstone of Perfection, is going to work. It worked. Maybe if I were able to get myself in a particular type of shape, I actually might do it. I've been thinking about it. But I don't want to take away anything from anybody that does it. Those men and women are excellent athletes, excellent people. So much respect to what it is that they do. But I would love to be involved in the business though, in one way or another.
Awesome. So were you able to go to that student showcase, or was it just for like people that were training within that? Because I saw that student showcase and I was like, wow, like I wish, honestly speaking, I wish I was there, because not because of like some of the people that we've actually interviewed, but like that show from top to bottom. I don't know if you got to see it. It
I
was
was there.
phenomenal. I actually enjoyed it.
I sat
Honestly
right
speaking,
behind.
I
sat behind
you go ahead.
current AEW talent Anthony. He sat ringside. I sat right behind him in the second row. So I was there, watched the whole showcase start to finish. Man, there was a lot of great folks there. Outside of the 4-way match, that Dean and British Wolf were in. Trip Jordy and Root Dragon had a great match. Sheik and the Bodyguard had a great match. There was a ladies tag team match that Karma Dean was a part of that was really good. And then in the main event, Dylan McQueen, regardless of how you feel about his character, Buddy can go. And at the end of the day, the gimmick works. He's got the talent behind it. I'm all for it, man. That showcase for a lot of folks who you had some that had some experience and you had some newbies. Dean Hiram is he's not new to the mentality. And some wrestling fans, I understand, think they know wrestling. He knows wrestling. And people like him, I think, were able to conceptualize and be able to take the coaching and teaching seriously so that they were able to adapt quickly. And so that's what I think about that.
Yeah, that was you're a lucky man to I've actually gotten to go there, to go there. Like I really and truly enjoyed that. Honestly, this is probably gonna sound crazy. I enjoyed that show more than most of what was it, WrestleMania Backlash. I enjoyed it, and this is not me being an AEW mark. I'm not team AEW. I'm not team WWE. I'm team wrestling. That's what I am. That's what we are here at Ringside Society. And this is not just me speaking for Rob and Kathy. They're the same way too. Like they go to indie shows, they watch AEW, they watch highlights from Impact, and so on. But I gotta call a spade when I said that. That student showcase, I enjoyed that more than most of WrestleMania Backlash. And every match there was
the big thing about that showcase was it gave an opportunity to kind of really showcase themselves. Like, do you like if this is what you believe in your gimmick? This is you. This is what you feel is the best production of yourself in this moment. Own the moment in terms of the ring gear, to people owning their moment when they were walking down the aisle, to not just in ring work, but then out of ring work. Maybe I'm biased. I thought Dean had the best out of ring work out of anybody else in terms of character selling. Just those random verbal blurbs that you do, during the match and things like that. Him and Karma have worked very well off of each other in terms of timing, pulling each other in and out of spots and different things. But no, it gave a lot of folks an opportunity to be very organic. And I think that in the world of wrestling, where if you're a dirt sheets person and different things like that, you can get really hypercritical because you're either waiting to see how close somebody's really doing something or if people are being loose about it, and these folks took the showcase seriously. They worked really hard and it showed. And I mean, as a fan, I was proud of everybody. And I don't really know most of them, but but no, Remy, you're right, man. And Rob, what'd you think about it, man? I thought it was dope.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, they went out there and they did their thing. That's what I'm saying. Dean's the man. I like him, man. He got that little stick, man. That cane, man. I love the cane, man. I was like, yeah. When we did the interview, I was like, yo, can you please get it? He's like, I got you. I got you. I was like, thank you. You the man. You the man.
You know who's another guy who I'm watching, and I'm calling him the sleeper guy because he's gonna shock people. Your boy, I don't know if you know him, Lewis Lessons. I'm watching that guy like a hawk. I'm like, Lewis, I saw what he did in that Royal Rumble, in that battle royal. I'm like, I'm watching you, Lewis. I'm watching you.
One guy, that I met him at the gym working out. He's an aspiring wrestler. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. His name is Tyson Maddox. He was on an episode of Dark, I believe, maybe about a month and a half, 2 months ago. I mean, an amazing athlete. Guy can do some of everything, but he's built like a tank, speed, got the moves. He can do some high flying. I mean, he's got it. So, I mean, outside of, the guys at the showcase, he's probably the one guy from the indies that I've been able to meet, in a personal setting that I'm like, he's got something. I like that. He's got it.
Yeah, I've never heard of him, but I'll definitely look him up. So I see you rocking the BC gear, man, Bullet Club, man. Have you ever been to like a New Japan Pro Wrestling show before?
I haven't been to a New Japan show. I've been to a handful of Ring of Honor shows, so that's where I got this one. This one was a show probably 2017-ish, 2018. We at Center Stage, we saw the Young Bucks and all of their streamers and stuff. Kenny King, that's where I learned about Hangman Page for the first time, and Marty Skrull. So some Bullet Club members were there, of course. But yeah, show was amazing. And I really like it. Those real small spaces, like those real intimate hot box types. It was really cool. It was a great show. It was like it was the first piece of indie merch that I ever purchased. So, I felt compelled to rock it tonight. It was either this or it was the CM Punk shirt.
I can't remember what was the first ever piece of indie merch I've ever. Oh, if I remember. Oh yeah, it actually was given to me by a friend, an old friend of mine called Sylvie Silver. She doesn't wrestle anymore. But yeah, I've always tried to remember what was the first ever piece of indie merch I ever bought, and that was it. But yeah, I gotta say, now it's crazy because nowadays, like back in the 2000s when I was in like my 20s, I'd buy like nothing but WWE shirts. But now, like I've bought in the last like 7-8 years, I've mostly bought like indie shirts. Like I've been doing that a lot.
I mean, outside of some of the recent stuff, I mean, don't get me wrong, Roman Reigns right now is killing the shirt game right now. I feel like every 2-3 weeks, man, he's coming out with something else. I'm just like, man, I gotta get this shirt, man. But I'm a classic guy, man. Some of those still, man, those DX, those Austin 316s, those are classic for me, man. Those are the classic years. And then the CM Punk, Cult of Personality, that the song, the shirt, the tape hands, and and then the best of all time or the best to ever do it on the back or something like that. And I love wearing that shirt. So yeah, man.
Man, it's funny. CM Punk made me start shutting my mouth about certain people because I remember when it was circa 2009 when he had that little feud with Jeff Hardy and he cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase on him after Jeff Hardy was the champion. I'm like, man, I can't stand this guy CM Punk. He's not gonna go nowhere. Matter of fact, he's never gonna amass the amount of popularity Jeff Hardy has had. He'll never be that guy. Lo and behold, I don't know if he heard me. He was like, Remy, I'm gonna show you something. 2 years later.
They said not even 2 years later.
Yeah, 2 years later. Well, yeah, not 2011. He drops the
June
pipe
2011 was the pipe bomb.
I was like, and ever since then, it was all CM Punk. even when he left WWE and those years he was gone, they were chanting CM Punk's name. I was like, I stand corrected. I was an idiot. I was wrong about you. And Jeff Hardy's a great guy, but in my opinion, not anybody else's opinion, he's past Jeff Hardy's popularity. Heck, he probably even passed Matt Hardy's on as Broken Matt Hardy. And to me, he was the guy. I always say he was the guy that put the final nail in kayfabe's coffin. He broke the fourth wall, and the reason why I say that was because he actually called Triple H by his real name, and he addressed himself, CM Punk, by his real name as well too. Something that has never really been done on live TV. And then he broke the fourth wall. And what happened? What exactly I thought would happen came to pass. The Rock came back around that time. He pretty much destroyed Cena in all the promos. But I said, you know something? I have a feeling when this guy battles when The Rock goes up against CM Punk, it's not going to be an easy win. Lo and behold, that happened. And the reason why I say CM Punk won that, and I'm a big Rock fan, but the reason why I said CM Punk won that promo battle was because he broke the fourth wall and he told everybody his faults. We all know he has a bunch of tattoos. We all know he's straight edge. We all know the man is skinny fat. So I mean, or we said he was skinny fat or something like that. Mm-hmm. So when The Rock comes and says, "Hey, look at your skinny fat ass," we're like, "Rock, he already met." It's like I call it the 8 Mile, the 8 Mile, the 8 Mile. What you call it? The 8 Mile.
The 8 Mile finale at the end. Yeah.
The man already told everybody his problems. So you can't go back and
tell everybody something they don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like if I say I got a weight problem, you know, I can't go to Hershey or else I won't be able to fit through the first door I came in through. You can't go back and say, yeah, Remy, you so fat, you can't go through, you can't go to Hershey because they already know that. So that's why he won that battle.
CM Punk did the same thing for the current wrestling environment, what Stone Cold did for wrestling in the mid-90s. Stone Cold allowed folks to be a little more organic and put themselves into the characters and really birthed that attitude era and did the pendulum switch from WCW, back to WWF at the time. But in like 2010, 2011, WWE had an influx of guys who were super talented, but weren't really getting the push because we all know, Vinnie Mac likes, 6'5", 285 beefcakes, which, for every Daniel Bryan, you have 10 Mason Ryans. Like I got 10 guys I can't do anything with. You know what I mean? So why not push the guy that, who in my mind has had the greatest WrestleMania moment in the last, in my mind, probably since Austin and Rock or, Stone Cold Bret Hart or, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart at WrestleMania 12. Starting off WrestleMania 34 with a win over Triple H and then finishing off, having his Willis Reed or his Paul Pierce moment. I'm taking off on a stretcher, but then I'm coming back in the match. The underdog story was the greatest that they've written in a long time. Kudos to what they did for Kofi. That was super dope. But CM Punk kind of led the way though, because nobody 6'1", 6 foot, 210, 215, 220 was really getting that main event push like that. At least not to win. There's a lot of guys getting thrown in for a match, for a small program. But, he really put a lot of smaller wrestlers on the map. And Daniel Bryan, The Miz, both Hardys. We can go down the list. Dolph Ziggler, Chris Jericho. We can keep going down the list, but there's a lot of guys, who don't fit that quality star mold of a Roman Reigns or The Rock or, an Undertaker. Hopefully Cesaro can do something right now. I'm not sure where this head of the table thing is going, but I like it with the Usos and Roman, but CM Punk did a lot for what we currently have to make sure that we're not looking at just Braun Strowman's all day, even though Braun Strowman's the guy though.
So in regards to the Usos, I'm pretty sure this is an unpopular opinion of mine. Me, at this point in time, I don't want to see the Usos reunite. Now, here's the reason why. They've been in WWE for, I'd say, I would even count the FCW days for pretty much like 12 years, right? They've held the titles numerous times on both Raw and SmackDown. They had a legendary feud with the Usos. I mean, with the New Day. Me, I don't want to see them reunite because I want to see what they can do as individuals. Yes, and I've been watching. It's been safe to say we've all been watching wrestling here for like 30 plus years, and we've seen that with twin wrestlers. Most twin wrestlers, they get put in that category and stuck in that category of a tag team wrestler due to them being twins. The only other two tag teams I've ever seen do that were the Blossom Twins, which was very brief, and then of course the Bella Twins with Nikki Bella and Brie Bella each having pretty decent title reigns. But with the Usos, personally, I want to see what Jimmy and Jay can do on their own. I say let Jimmy go to Raw, be with his wife. Jay has already been built up to a point where he's beating AJ Styles fairly. And he's also, I think he beat Daniel Bryan too. And now he's won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So personally, I don't want to see them reunite just yet. I want to see what they can do in the singles, division as singles wrestlers. What's your opinion on that?
While seeing them in a singles aspect is cool, the one thing that gets lost when it comes to tag teams, at least on the WWE side, is that you have a lot of tag teams that get broken up either too early or when we think it's the right time to do the suggestion, like you said, Remy, there's terrible writing behind it, right? Like the story just doesn't make sense. So when I think about, where they could possibly go in that particular aspect as singles competitors, yeah, but I think right now they still need each other because until, Jimmy and Jay completely break away from Roman, that whole singles aspect thing doesn't really hit just right because they're still really attached to Roman right now. So until that whole thing is over with, I don't really know how right now they, we can look at them really as singles competitors because everything that they're doing is still kind of at the behest of, the head of the table. So until they can either break away from that. So I don't know if that's, don't they have like a little brother or like a cousin? To somewhere else, I've seen him. He's nice. If The Rock decides to want to come back to do a WrestleMania program after he's done filming whatever 50 movies he's doing right now, shout out to him. If he wants to come back and put on a grand match, against Roman, that would be great. I would love to see that. I think though there's too much stake in this Roman head of the table, like family dynamic. I don't think they have the opportunity to make them singles competitors just yet. But when they do, I actually think I want to see them try to either outdo each other or to fight each other. I don't think I want to see them on separate shows just yet until after they try to extinguish each other. Because the way that they're trying to, it's seeming like it's angling now, it's either they're heading to fight each other since one is with Roman and one isn't, or they're going to hopefully come together and turn on Roman. I don't know. But they're amazing wrestlers. The problem that WWE also has is that, and I don't know if you guys, like this or not, they put a lot of hodgepodge teams together. Like that's to me, that's the biggest difference between WWE and AEW. Like AEW's got real teams, fluid teams. And it's like, if you think about the tag teams that have come in and how they get broken up, like why did Heavy Machinery get broken up? I didn't really see the issue with them. They were good to me. Enzo
Made no sense to me.
I don't understand. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we understand legal issues, but who hasn't come back from legal issues? So, Enzo and Cass. Dolph Ziggler has been in a tag team with like 25 people. You know what I mean? I mean, God bless the New Day. They are going strong, but what other team has been together? Like, for example, Cesaro was in the Kings of Wrestling with Cassius Ohno, back before they converted over to WWE, and they were killing the game in the tag team ranks. They were killing it. Broke them up. God bless what happened to TJ Wilson when him and Davey Boy Smith Jr., when they were the Hart Foundation, Light Part 2, and they were doing they were good before he got his neck injury. Like there any more real homegrown teams that are just really together. It's like I have these partners. Now you can for every Sheamus and Cesaro that has this really good run, I mean, you have another 10 runs with a bunch of guys you just threw together because you don't really have a current plan for them, but you don't want to not have them on TV. So it's a twofold issue to me as to why you would want to see them singles, but then you kind of still need them as a tag team because they resonate a lot. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to bring back Darren Young and bring back these primetime players, millions of dollars?
Yeah, WWE needs to just learn how to look at who has chemistry in the ring, and they need to get back to how it was back in the 80s. I remember the 80s. You had 10. I don't know if you ever saw the first WrestleMania, but there was the first ever tag team Survivor Series. Not the first WrestleMania, the first Survivor Series from '87. That first ever tag team Survivor Series match had so many, because it had so many tag teams, you had so many people in one ring. And that was crazy. You had the Killer Bees, Demolition, the Art Foundation, the British Bulldogs, Strike Force, so many people. And they need to go back to that. And they need to go back to that fast because that's what gives a roster more depth. And I was when I saw the cuts that they made, okay, they got rid of Wesley Blake. And who was the guy that was with Rob? Who was the guy that had the little storyline with the Mysterios?
Oh,
Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy. Buddy Murphy. Yeah.
I'm like, you're not having Murphy doing anything. Okay, obviously the storyline with the Mysterios is over, and Murphy. No, Wesley Blake got released.
Okay. I was like, Murphy? Oh,
I'm like, you have Wesley Blake doing nothing. Hey, it's not rocket science. Put them together. You release Tucker Knight after he turned on Otis. That makes no sense. What's his name doesn't need to be in a tag team. Gable doesn't need to be in a tag team. And then they let go of the Iconics, the one consistent tag team. They let go. So I'm like, they need to sit back, and they need to come together. Not sit back, come together and look close at who has chemistry and who works, who gels, and just make that happen. They definitely need to do that.
I mean, the only thing I see them getting behind right now is Street Profits. I think the Viking Raiders are going to make a comeback though. Now that they're fully healthy. So I think those two are the two to look for later on this year.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and pass over to Rob. I know Rob has some questions. Rob, go ahead, man. I know you're like, yo, Remy, you hogging the time, man. So go ahead, bro.
I know it's all good, man. So what's going on, Mike, man? How's everything doing your way, man?
Man, everything's good, Rob. Can't complain. Still warm down here at night.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's getting that way over here, man. I think it's 67. So no, wait. No, 64. 64 right now, man. But yeah, man, it'll get up there, man. Sometimes during the night, man, it'll be like 80 degrees, man. I'll be like, oh, humid. I hate that, man. Just that humidity, man. I hate it. Oh. So I do gotta ask, man. Have you been catching any of those documentaries like Dark Side of the Ring? You know, those A&E docs and
Oh
all
yeah,
that. Oh
yep.
man.
I Brian Pillman was that whew,
Mm.
that one threw me a little bit. Adam Gage, whoa.
Yeah.
There are certain things that I have been privy to in terms of like deathmatch wrestling and things like that. I think the only person who I ever went in depth was when, you know, Moxley was doing his Combat Zone wrestling like that, and I saw some of the things that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Him get hit with like a weed whacker or edger or something like that.
I remember he took a sawzall to his forehead. Like,
yeah, like but for the fact that they had that match with all of those like what do you call those lights? The beam lights?
Yeah, the light tubes.
Yeah, the light tubes. And it cut the whole I'm like, how did you guys even want to put that on television?
I know.
But those, I mean, those are good. They're in depth. I really like them. The A&E ones are really good too. I got to watch the Shawn Michaels one though. I'm one behind.
Yeah, that Shawn Michaels one was good, man. Marty Jannetty's in there, man. Man, look, Shawn Michaels, man, the beginning of his whole life, man, he's like the greatest kid, man. He's all nice and respectful and doesn't do anything. He meets Marty Jannetty, and then that begins a decade long of alcohol and drug abuse. Like, yeah, oh man. And then Marty Jannetty was talking about, laughing about, like, oh yeah, man, it's the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean? I was like, woo, man. Because Jannetty, he's probably still doing that. You know what I mean? He's still probably party, you know, Marty.
Yeah, you never know, man. You got to keep the dream alive, man.
That's right, man. Yeah, man. That Nick Cage stuff, man. Yeah, because I'm in Delaware, and I remember people were always asking me, like, you know, because I'm a wrestling fan. Yo, you go see those death matches and da da da. I'm like, man, I ain't got the stomach for that, man. Like, I can't watch that in person.
I can't do that.
Like, see, I can watch a movie or something like Jason, but I know it's a special effect. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then if I go to a match, like what Nick Cage was saying, he's like, yeah, I took a pizza cutter and was, you know, and it stuck it in his mouth. Oh yeah, that's real, man. Like, nah, man. Oh man, yeah. I can't be doing that.
But the fact that he asked them to just tape him up so he could keep going.
Oh man.
I mean, toughness, crazy, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I know, man. That's crazy. Did you see the David Arquette one, man? When he punctured him in the jugular and he came back and was like, "All right, I'm gonna finish the match." I was like, "All right, Arquette, all right, man." I wouldn't have done that, man. I was like, yeah, my jugular,
I did it. I've seen certain clips of it. You know, I remember when David Arquette first started, you know, that WCW thing, and you know, these celebrity champs and stuff, and I was just like, okay, this is getting a little. This is beyond absurd, you know, and I would occasionally follow, but I was more so getting into New Japan and different things like that, you know, probably like 5, 6, 7 years ago, you know, a huge Will Ospreay fan, match him with Ricochet over there. It's probably one of the greatest acrobatic matches I've ever seen. But yeah, but I like that. I like, you know, the strong style matches and stuff like that. You know, when Shinsuke, before he, you know, got signed to NXT, him, Kenta, you know, back when there was the whole alleged, you know, Kenta stole the GTS and all that type of stuff. I'm like, guys, people have been stealing moves since forever, man. Slap another name on it and keep going. So yeah, so that's my kind of thing. But those death matches, now, I will say this. I was at the AEW pay-per-view when it was supposed to be the exploding ring match.
Okay.
And let's just say that ending left a little more to be desired.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is true. But, I mean, you know, it's live TV. You know, things happen. You know, I mean, I'm not going to kill him for that. You know, yeah, it's whatever. You know, it's all good.
Yeah. I mean, as somebody that was there, I mean, you saw what happened if you were really paying attention. But, I mean, you know, the match itself was good, but again, it was just the ending, you know.
Oh yeah. And yeah, man. Another one of those docs, man. We were talking about the Brian Pillman one. Man, that one broke my heart. Not the first part, but the second part with Brian Pillman Jr. He said, I went to school and nobody taught me how to throw a football. I was just like, because man, you just think that, like, yeah, you go to high school, everybody knew how to throw baseball, football, and then he was like, nah, I didn't know how to do that. And then my dad, he knew I like video games, so he was smashing my GameCube up. I was like, oh my Lord, man. I'm glad to see him, doing his thing now, man, just being happy and like, yeah, that's great. I like that story. That's a good redemption story. Oh man, I couldn't imagine that, man. Like, oh man.
Yeah. And then think about it, that just that he almost didn't even want to get into wrestling because of that.
Yeah, I know, man. Oh man, but yeah, he looks just like his pop too, man. I mean, you can see it, the flying Brian. Oh man, yeah. I should show him to my aunt. My aunt, when she was younger, man, she loved Brian Pillman. That was her favorite wrestler. I remember when she used to babysit us, and I came over one night. She was watching WCW Saturday Night. I was like, oh, hold on, I'm trying to sit here and watch, da da da. She's like, no, you need to go back with your cousin, your brother and sister. You know what I mean? Y'all watch Nickelodeon. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Keenan and Kel and all that. That's what y'all gonna watch. I'm watching WCW. I was like, well, I like watching wrestling. Come on now. She's like, nope.
Oh no, I remember back when he used to Brian Pillman and Stunning Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm. They used to do that. Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, Steve Austin, man. Yeah, I always knew he could go because I remember him back in the day. His matches with Ricky Steamboat when he were fighting. I think it was for the TV title or something back then, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, Austin, man. I always thought of him like, oh yeah, Hollywood Blonde. Then I see now, I was like, all right, yeah, Austin. He can go. He can go, man. So when he started blowing up, I was like, yeah, I knew this guy. Yeah, this guy.
I knew he was gonna blow up when they put him with the $1 Million Man as the ringmaster.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him the $1 Million championship, and then he won the King of the Ring, and cut one of the greatest promos of the '90s.
That's right. Yeah, to this day, yeah, nobody, it's one of the most quotable things. I mean, Austin 316. Yeah, and the very next night, man, 50 million signs. Austin 316.
Yep.
That's right. Now, do you think they're bringing the King of the Ring back? Because what was it, SmackDown or whatever? It was last week or the week before. Shinsuke and Corbin were fighting, and then Shinsuke, took the crown off and was like.
So here's the thing about WWE, man. And maybe it's really maybe about wrestling, period. But it's like some things don't need to get messed with. Some things don't need to be changed. Like the King of the Ring was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like portion of time, like in the late '90s, like you knew what month a pay-per-view name was, and it stuck for like a nice while.
Mm-hmm.
We had your Royal Rumble was in January, WrestleMania is in the end of March, beginning of April, SummerSlam in August, Survivor Series in November. A bunch of in your houses and a bunch of randos in the middle. And the King of the Ring, I guess now is really replaced by Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I think so.
Or Night of Champions, something like that.
Whatever's in June, I guess.
I miss having that tournament because it kind of sets you up for like the summer season because it led you into the beginning of the summer. You got halfway through. That's when you really start your major planning for SummerSlam. So it's like it carried everything through, a solid 3-month span, regardless of where you were touring and things like that. But we always know if they're going to Mexico, what kind of champ are they going to have?
That's right.
A Rey Mysterio, Alberto, something like that. Or if they're going to India, Jinder Mahal has a quick run. We know. Play games for fans. I'm with it. I'm cool. But I don't know, man. I want them to bring back King of the Ring. I wish they would have a Queen of the Ring.
Yes.
And they need to bring back Evolution. Give the men a month off of pay-per-views. Just give them a month off. Just give them a month off. Bring back Evolution, have a whole women pay-per-view. If they're good enough to headline WrestleMania 2 years in a row, give them a 2.5-hour show.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, because I remember Mickey James, when she got released, she was like, I tried to pitch a women's show for like an hour during the week or whatever. See, I'm torn on that because, it's cool and all, but I'm like, Raw is 3 hours. Can't they just take like an hour out of that and dedicate it to the women? Have like a 20-minute match here, a couple promos here, tag match here, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can do something with that Raw, extra hour in Raw, you know what I mean? Like,
There's more wrestling, I think, on probably NXT and AEW than there is on Raw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just way more wrestling. Now, granted, I'm not saying I don't like the show. I mean, Raw's good. I watch it every week. I guess, but as a critical wrestling fan, I'm like, yeah, I mean, the show's good. I'm a fan. I'm going to watch. But if the writing is trash, I'll probably wait to watch it like a day later. I may not watch it live. I may watch it an hour late so I can fast forward and then watch the main event live. But, you know, when things like that happen, you know, you tend to wait for the next thing, which is why AEW to me is a breath of fresh air, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dean and I went to the very first AEW show that they had here in Atlanta at State Farm Arena. It was, I haven't felt chills like that when Chris Jericho came out and everybody was singing Judas. It was like one of the greatest things ever. It was like being in one of like a Premier League soccer game and you hear like all 180,000 people chanting the same thing. Like, to hear people sing songs in unison like that was really cool. But I found myself on Wednesdays tuning into Dynamite before NXT, and it's not a knock on NXT. I think NXT is actually the best wrestling show WWE has, but they provided a fresh dynamic that WWE just doesn't do because they still have reigns on people. There is no reigns on anybody on AEW. Now, granted, I understand Tony Khan's going to pay the bill for, you know, whatever Nielsen, you know, hits he's got to take, you know, for language and everything else. But he's putting a product out there that people want to watch. And again, people are going to watch the monopoly. People are going to watch WWE. Like, we know that. But AEW is still a little more compelling. I wish they would do something a little bit more with their women's division. That's just me. But, you know, they got a lot of things working for them right now. I'm a fan of Jade, Red Velvet, you know, so Britt Baker, you know, I'm wondering how much stuff she's taken from Adam Cole, you know. But yeah, man, they got some opportunities, man. So it's just about what they, you know, what motivation they have right now. I just wish Triple H one day gets to run with the whole show and not just NXT. I think when that happens, I think us as a wrestling community will be a lot happier.
That's right. Now, I haven't gone to AEW yet, man. I think when the pandemic started, they were going to have a show in Baltimore or Phil or somewhere around there. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go, but you know, everything shut down, you know, so it's like, all right. But I'm definitely going to go to one, yeah, because I want to see Orange Cassidy fight, you know what I mean? Because, man, you know, and he's perfect in AEW, man, because if he went to WWE, they'd be like, who's this guy? You know what I mean? Like, nah, man.
They wouldn't let that gimmick live in WWE.
No.
They never let it live.
Nope. Nope. Yeah, man.
They never let it live.
Yeah, man, because I remember that match with him and Pac or what, man. I keep calling him Pac from Tupac, man. Pac. Him and Pac, man, they were going at it, man. Like, yeah, I love that match. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, AEW got, yeah. One of my favorite feuds, Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, man. Because, see, I love Thunder Rosa, man. The second Britt Baker was done, Thunder Rosa was on her ass. Like, finish the match, you know what I mean? Ding, ding, ding. Right there, right out there. That's what it's supposed to be like. Yeah, you hate that person? Yeah, you going to be on them. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. So, man, you know, before I, pass it on back to, Remy, I want to say, I want to say thank you for, taking time out of your, busy schedule, coming on, chatting with us, man. You know, I had a blast, chatting with you and all that good stuff. I hope, all the positive things happen to you, your family, all that good stuff, man. If you train wrestle, man, I hope you go in there, you kick some ass and, tell Dean or whatever. I don't know if he's listening or whatever, man, but I hope I want to see you kicking ass too soon, man. You my boy, man. You my boy, Dean.
My man, Dean Hiram, cornerstone.
That's right. The cornerstone of perfection.
Yeah, Mike. Mike J, got to say it was awesome having you on the show. Really and truly, thank you for this opportunity. It's segments like this that and fans like you that participate that keep us going, because we don't just like to hear from like the wrestlers and the promoters on that side of the spectrum, but we also like to hear. I always say, if it wasn't for the fans, wrestling wouldn't be where it is. If it wasn't for the fans, events like WrestleMania, Slammiversary, Double or Nothing, et cetera, would not be successful without the support of the fans. So pretty much this is how I consider us giving back. By giving the fans a voice as to what they like and so on. And this is all love, man. It's not no clout chasing or nothing, man. Straight up, no cap. This is us, just being real as it is. Shoots. Rob actually started on 15 Minutes of Fandom, so, and our other host, Kathy. So, yeah. And now they're like our two co-hosts. So, but yeah, definitely thank you for this, man. Hey, I'll tell you what. If you ever make it to becoming like a color commentator, man, hey, let us know. We'll have you on the show as a main guest, man. I mean, Diamond Sheik just did it. I mean, he started off as on 15 minutes of Fandom too, and lo and behold, now he's a wrestler. And I was like, I'm very proud of him. I was like, I told him, I'm like, bro, I can't believe it. Just last year, you were a guest on our show, and now you're like a whole wrestler, kicking ass in Atlanta, Georgia, and taking names and whatnot. So, yeah. If you ever I hope you get there. When you do, just let us know. We'll definitely have you back on so you can tell us about your journey and everything.
Will do, man. I appreciate you guys greatly for having me on.
So before we let you go and before we close the show, where can fellow fans find you on social media if they just want to talk about wrestling and so on?
You can find me on Instagram, MG the Don, MGTADON. Hey man, I'm available. Wrestling is something, man. It's a lifestyle, man. I'm not in the ring yet, but we fight every day. Mamba mentality, Ric Flair drip, all that great stuff that we talked about earlier. Find those that care about your energy and want to keep good energy around you. Everything else should fall into place, man.
Awesome. All right, so it's about that time for us to shut down the show. My eyes are getting a bit heavy, so that means it's time for me to take a little nap. But before we do that, Rob, where can fellow fans find you on social media if they want to be on our show? Where can promoters and bookers find you if they want to be on our show as well? And all that good stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Rob_Base82, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Xbox, whatever, Rob Base.
Awesome. And if you want to find us on if you want to find me on social media, you can find me on Twitter at @TheRemyBlue. I also have a Facebook. It's under the name Remy Blue. You can find me on there. It's a picture of me at WrestleMania 28 with my good friend Adam. Shout out to my boy Adam. Hope you're doing well over there in Florida. Our podcast is also on Instagram. It's at Ringside Society. We have a lot of cool stuff on there. We're also on Twitter at Ringside Society, and we're also on Facebook. We actually have a Facebook group, so definitely go ahead and join that. We got a lot of cool posts in there. We got cool posts everywhere, and we're also on Twitch now. Yes, Twitch. So if you're a Twitch person, follow us on Twitch, Ringside Society 2019. You won't be disappointed. And also make sure you follow our YouTube channel as well. We have a lot of impressive interviews like this one. We have our first 50 Minutes of Fandom interview, where we actually talked to a fan from the Philippines. Shout out to Judy Conda. We have a lot of interesting interviews with many people from the factory, and many more impressive interviews to come as well. And we also have a Teespring store, so make sure you check out our Teespring store. We have a couple of interesting new designs coming as well. All proceeds go towards us keeping this show afloat. And with that being said, we just want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight live to watch us. Really and truly do appreciate it. To those of you that are going to listen to us later on, thank you very much in advance. And to those of you that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away, well, like myself and Rob based in a Golden Corral, we ain't going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
We ain't stopping. So with that being said, we here at Ringside Society just want everybody else to know that we're very well aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. Matter of fact, we're not a Senny podcast. We're not the same. I must keep saying that. Rob Base, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for our friend Mike G. MG the Dawn. What type of podcast are we?
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
Ringside Society. Say
That's
what's
right.
up.
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast. That's right. Ringside Society. And with that being said, make sure y'all join us tomorrow. We'll be having another impressive guest, a man who goes by the name of Aaron. I forgot what his last name was, but he was actually in the. Hold on. Don't crucify me yet. I'm gonna get it, Aaron. I'm sorry. Got a brief. We'll be having none other than Aaron Dallas. My apologies, Aaron. Tomorrow we'll be having Aaron Dallas, who was actually part of the Student Showcase 2. He'll be on our show with us tomorrow at 10 o'clock p.m. So after SmackDown, make sure you head over here and you'll get to hear him tell his story as well. We won't want to miss it. But until then, during this pandemic, yes, everything is still opening up, but still COVID's around. So y'all stay healthy, stay safe, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware. Peace.